You're such an asshole.
Bear with me. Something dawned on me. Beyond productive surplus. There we go. Okay. So this is going to kind of be a shit show. I got some notes, but it's good. The guy asked a good question. And as you guys know, I've been not on this kick, but this observation, especially dealing with building a new house, because a house it's very encompassing. It's the most encompassing thing you're ever going to buy or invest in. However, because of all the moving parts, I guess maybe a car would be something a little bit more or on the same level. But in having something that's so broad, covering a lot of different things and moving parts, you start to see where all the weaknesses in the U.S. economy is. It's kind of like a magnifying glass where you get to see just how incompetent and the weakest link in the chain the entire U.S. economy is. And so the concept that's been forming in my brain for the past 2 years has been the idea of the mistake economy, where if you look at most of the work that we do, especially in white collar work, though blue collar work, you tradesmen as well, I estimate 70% of white collar work is simply fixing up other people's mistakes. And especially if you want a housing crisis solved, well, if tradesmen would do their job right the first time, I'm conservatively estimating you could double the amount of new housing being produced if you guys just did it right the first time. But that's not going to change because we have raised a generation of Americans, or 2 generations, 3, depending on what age range you want to go through, of Americans who, when we've boiled it down to it, they simply have no honor. They will cut corners, they will cheat, they will scheme, they will not do the right thing, which ends up costing them more in the long run. It's not to their benefit, but we as a culture, we as workers no longer have any honor. And that is costing us tremendously when it comes to inflation, and housing is just one of many examples. So here we're getting a little deeper philosophical question, which I appreciate very much, sir. Hi, Claire. Previous client from the Decentering Men video. I would like a video response on the topic of trust. In economics, lenders trust that borrowers will repay their loans with the agreed upon interest. Somebody will trust their friend with their socket set and that it will be returned complete, not missing the 10 millimeter socket. Men used to trust that when Jenny said she'll meet you at the sock hop on Friday. You from the 50s, man? On Friday at 7 p.m., she would actually be there. When I think of trust, the 3 words I immediately associate with it are honesty, accountability, and action. But as we look around, we can see those characteristics are decaying exponentially over time. Your mistake economy video demonstrates the catastrophic consequences of broken trust. Everywhere you go nowadays, you have to be keen on untrustworthy people trying to fuck you out of your time, money, and possessions. You nailed it. We're playing defense. We're not playing offense. There is no new production. It's always fixing up other people's mistakes. It's always getting insurance. It's always hedging against people fucking up. Absolutely. I mean, I'll give you an example. There's limitless examples, but the money I had to spend on an inspector, that money could have gone to help out anything else. Literally, I could have gotten a lot of gas. We could have, how many flights? It could have fed me for 2 or 3 months, going out even to eat. I mean, not even groceries. We are, and as I said before, not to go over it again, but the broken window fallacy, it doesn't account for this. We are not improving our standards of living. That $500 is going to look like the way economists account it. Well, that's $500 of new production. No, it wasn't. That was not new production. That should not go into our standards of living. And this is one of those things where economists, Paul Krugman is jerking himself off nightly to this type of stuff. Oh my God, broken windows. I mean, he's having a wet dream over this stuff. But this is where the economists have their blinders on, and they're just number crunching monkeys. And they do not understand that this does not improve standards of living. And so I think, as always before, I'm on the edge. I'm on the cutting edge. I'm on the vanguard. And one of these days, I might write the book, The Mistake Economy. But if somebody else, this would make a perfect doctoral thesis. I want you to credit me, asshole. Don't be saying that you did this. It's here on the internet. I came up with The Mistake Economy. I'd like to get your thoughts about the economic, social, and romantic costs lack of trust has on society. Also, I'd like you to describe how an idealized, trustworthy world would affect the economy, societal connection, and romance. Oh my goodness. If people honored their word, holy cow. So I had to take some notes and do a little bit of research, and let me go through it here. And I apologize if this is kind of disjointed, but we'll inevitably get to all my points. All right. First, we have to understand that there has always been mistakes and a lack of trust. There's not been a time where there's been 100% trust and no crime. It just hasn't. And there's not been a place where humans don't do simple, honest human mistakes. Right. It's just that now Americans are such low caliber people. They're criminal. They're scum. And yes, you are inferior people compared to the World War II generation. You just are. So, but there's never been a point where there hasn't been a certain efficiency loss due to mistakes, lies, distrust, dishonor, and mistakes in the economy before. Okay, so let us go then through and look at you want to know about trust effect on the economy. So to tangibly describe what that is, what that means, I figured that we could consolidate trust or distrust, the lack thereof. It will manifest itself in three forms as it pertains to economics and our standards of living. One, you're not doing what you said you were going to do. You're not honoring your word. All right. That right there, I'm not going to pay back my loans. I'm not going to build the thing. I'm not going to deliver. You see this a lot in investments, and I'm not going to deliver the profits I said I'm going to deliver. That thing. So you're either not honoring or you're just outright lying. Then there is the wrong information. Here it could be malicious, like you're actually lying, or it could just be naivete, where you think you're giving the right information, but it happens to be the wrong information. And here we could talk about efficient markets theory, where the .com said, "Oh yeah, we're going to make lots of price to sale. We're going to the moon." The housing market, but even in things that are not economic, but ultimately do end up being in the economy, because everything ends up in the economy. This is whether we are measuring it with dollars or not through transactions is another way to look at it. But everything ends up in the economy. I would say a perfect example of this would be the lie of going to college. There's a perfect example of tremendous economic efficiency loss. The irony that when you spend money to go to college, that's accounted for in the GDP. That increases our standards of living, when it was not just the pissing away of money, but it destroyed people. Not to mention the irony that the interest rate that the people pay on top, like that goes into the profit accounts of the banks are out of the. But you get my point. Like, oh my God, it's half a trillion we spend on K through 12 education and another $500 billion on higher ed. Nearly all of that is pissed away. But we're like, oh my God, what investments? It's like, no, you just ruined people's lives. You made it worse. But there's so we first form manifestation of distrust, not honoring your word, not doing what you said you're going to do. 2, outright wrong information or lies. And then 3, this won't show up in the economy, but it does detract from standards of living, and that is dishonorable behavior, namely crime. All right. So, there is no GDP production. It only costs, but we have to account for dishonorable behavior. Now, these numbers are, some are accurate, some are just ballpark because the data doesn't exist out there. But if we look at right now official GDP, I'd say damn near 70%, and some people would claim differently and it vary on industry. I'd say 70% of our economy, 70% of our labor as U.S. citizens go to cleaning up other people's mistakes. It is a tremendous waste. And if you use 70%, that's almost like we could 2.5, almost triple our standards of living. So you say, what would an economy look like if we had total integrity and trust? Like we did what we said we're going to do. We honor our word, and only truly accidental human flaw and misbehavior, not dishonor. If there was no dishonor, it was just true human mistakes, true human error that's going to happen. I think we could easily double our economy. Which is why I say these things are in the grand scheme of things, they're more important than monetary policy or fiscal policy. Or do we have a 47% tax rate? Do we have do you do this? I'm like, dude, if you show up, do your fucking job the right way the first time, we could probably afford UBI. We honestly could. I'm not saying we should. I'm just saying we could. Our financial troubles would go all away. It would go all away. And so that's just me going through my daily career back in the olden times. That's me when I had to work in banking or security or all that. I'd imagine maybe manufacturing is a little bit different because there you have, what is it, Sigma 6 or Six Sigma or something like that. But most people, if you look at your job, the majority of your labor is wasted because somebody fucked up. That's pretty much it. And so that I would say 70% is wasted. There's tremendous opportunity. If we had parents who raised their children, instilled work ethic and discipline into the children, and raised honorable children, we could have this. But no, you got to outsource it to daycare. And quite literally, we teach you teachers, you public school teachers, go fuck yourselves. You raise children to be whiny, entitled little victims. You raise them to be little socialist bitches. That you don't teach them to be hardworking. You don't teach them any honor. You don't teach them any integrity. And this shouldn't have anything to do with politics, but it shows you that the public schools and colleges are more important on instilling victimhood ideology and politics and parasitism in today's young workforce and upcoming future generations of workforce than discipline, honor, integrity, and doing the fucking job. And so I don't see a solution to that. Then we have crime. In crime, it's a little, how do you measure crime? What's the opportunity cost with crime? So what I did is I looked at the justice system. What do we spend annually on the justice system? Because that's what we get. Now, that doesn't account for the damage. All this is accounting for the direct financial cost that, crime committed this and we had to go pursue them. It does, like, we never recaptured the lost money. We can't bring your friend back to life because he got shot in a drug deal gone bad. We can't put the mental stress that crime has caused people. We just can't, not all crime goes reported. None of these things are not good. So these are lowball estimates of what the true total cost to society has been. But the justice system is $300 billion a year. I thought it would have been more, state, federal, and local, but $300 billion. I'd say double that maybe. And how do you put a price on an intangible? You can't put a price on an intangible thing, but a mother loses her son to whatever crime or an impairment, whatever. You're talking at least double. So we're talking 600 billion, more maybe like $1 trillion if you want to factor in. That would I'd rather be spending 300 billion on, honest to God, I'll tell you, let me just give you an example. I'm not for housing the homeless. Fuck them. Let them starve, let them be poor, let them get off their asses and go get a job. You keep bailing them out. You keep feeding them. Let them starve. And when they're threatened with death, not by somebody else's hand, but by nature, a lot of them are going to sober up. A lot of them might straighten up. So the worst thing you can do is keep coddling them. But here's how I'd rather take that 300 billion and build government housing. Not that it would be Section 8 housed, but to have the government take that money and build just a surplus of housing. Just hire up contractors. Look, okay, I know you need bankers to, we want to build some housing. All right. You go contact some realtors. You say, where would housing be good to build in this market? And the realtors say, well, probably over there because the highway's coming in this way and they're going to have a commercial district. So that's a pretty good area to build housing. Government comes in, buys out the land, builds up some good housing. Here, 300 billion worth of housing every year. That would at least increase people's standards of living rather than chasing down criminals. But, you women just love felons to keep breeding with them. Like, oh, my God, they don't need their fathers. We're a girl boss. Anything we can do, girls can do bad, whatever. Oh, my God, your sons became criminals. Oh, geez, what a shock. So there's another thing of a lack of honor, a lack of integrity, a lack of trust. We trust parents to raise their kids. Crime, 600 billion. Let's just call it. That could have gone to housing. That would have made housing a lot more affordable. Then there's, so that's crime, but then there's not doing what you said you're going to do. Now that could be falling into the 70%, like, oh yeah, I'm going to test the widgets. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to put pickles on the burger. Okay. Yeah. Someone had me listen to a documentary about the SUNY plant. It was a auto plant in California, a joint venture between Toyota and GM. Before Toyota came in, the union, the United Auto's labor union, would put empty Coke cans inside the cars they were assembling so it would rattle. I'm like, wow, fuck you, unions. Now that was back in the 60s and 70s. But not doing what you said we're gonna make good cars. No, you're not. But when people don't honor their word or they lie, now you have to spend money to get a lawyer. Now you have to drag them to court, which is a total inefficiency loss. That's a total economic loss. Instead of you going and producing new shit, right? You are now caught up in law, caught up in a law case. And I wanted to separate this from criminal law, where you're chasing after criminals and all that, and there's a defender and all that's, prisons and all that. That's the legal court system. I'm talking business law, lawsuits, and that's a $344 billion industry. Again, doesn't talk about, look, I had every right to drag a ton of contractors to court. Small claims predominantly, and at the end of the day, I looked at it and like, okay, I can do that more quick. Like a fraction of the time it's going to take to drag Jessup to hey, Jessup, get your dick out of your sister's mouth. You're going to court. Well, what? You tell me who dang diggly. All right, now I don't have time for that shit. And you looked at it, you do the cost benefit. All right, it's not worth it. All right, but sometimes you have to. Sometimes you will. Sometimes the person didn't honor the word, the counterparty didn't honor the word, and you got to drag them to court. And that lawyer is $344 billion. This doesn't account for the mental problem you got to deal with. Any of you who have had to deal with contractors know you want to fucking murder them all. Fucking kill them in cold blood. In Minecraft. But that there's a mental cost. How do you put a price tag on it? I don't know. But $344 billion per year, that's the low end. So then once again, I asked, so now you got, say, $600 billion in criminal costs for people being dishonorable, committing crime. Then you have, let's just do another $600 billion for people not honoring their word. Now we got $1.2 trillion. We're talking real money that would definitely solve a lot of our financial troubles. And we notice again, we have not said one fucking thing about lowering taxes, raising taxes, the government involvement. This is just getting the population, the American population, obviously these principles apply elsewhere, to do the right thing. This is why I have the course, The Dad You Never Had, to basically get fathers with balls, not you modern day pussy fathers in America. And whatever, dear. Well, we talk to our children. We don't, spank. Oh my God, no. Hoyle. Can't with the touching and the spanking on the bottoms. The child might go and get the Ritalin disease. Hoyle. Freundleben. Yeah, just give you. Let's say every dad was like me. I'm not a father, but let's say every dad was like me. Do you think the kids would be committing crime? Do you think if little Aaron Jr. was an electrician and I found out that he didn't wire the home correctly and shirked his duties and showed, do you know how many of my kids would be limping? There'd be a ton of honor. There would be no disrespect to the family. But no, nowadays it's just like, what dad? What? Oh, that cowering pussy over there? Oh, Oh, that's my dad. And he doesn't tell me anything. That's why I have the course, The Dad You Never Had. It's available on Teachable. So if your dad was a pussy and didn't raise you right, or he just wasn't around because your mom was a whore, chose the wrong guy, you're probably going to need that course. Oh, that's pretty harsh. You know what's even more harsh? The life you're going to live if you don't get the lessons your dad should have taught you. Anyway, my whole point, it all goes back to the quality and caliber of the individual. Where does the individual come from? The family. What does the family look like? Well, 40% are born to single moms. Everything's been raised by a bunch of ideologues that are about victimization instead of work and honor and integrity, known as the public schools. And then what people do have the dads around, dads are a bunch of fucking pussies. And again, I'll tip my hat to him because I guess the modern day Jack version of Ward Cleaver would be Phil Foster. Go look him up. Kind of. All this would go away if we had Ward Cleaver. Look at that square. What do you think? It's the 50s and moms should be married and raising their children. Patriarchal sexist. Why am I getting stabbed by a fatherless human man? So we're already talking 1.2 trillion just right there. And that doesn't even include if we stop making mistakes every day at the office or the plants or the factories. And we're talking drastic savings, drastic. Then you talked about, you wanted, let me pull this up. Let me get it here. So that was the economics. Now let me make sure I don't leave economics before we go on to, you want to talk about social and romantic. Let me point out one other thing here. And I have to think this one through a little bit more. Some mistakes, it's dollar for dollar. Okay. So for example, Sister Fucking Electric, located in Rapid City, South Dakota, where only the finest sister fucking electricians are there to do your job. Jessup comes in from Sister Fucking Electric LLC. He wires one light wrong. All right. I try to contact Sister Fucking Electric LLC, say Jessup wired the thing wrong. And if you are in the trades world, you know what you do is you ignore that. And then you never return the calls. And then inevitably you get sued by someone who actually has the time to sue you, and you go out of business and you bitch and whine like, I don't know why I don't make any money. Don't go into the trades. Well, maybe if you got your sister's lips off your dick, maybe you'd make some money. But anyway, if you set down the booze, maybe. All right. So now you got to hound them down. You inevitably come to the conclusion you're not going to drag Sister Fucking LLC electrician to court. You're just going to hire reliable Bob plumber. After you talk to 1,000 people, you found, oh yeah, the only reliable electrician is Reliable Bob LLC. So you go hire Bob. Bob comes in, and usually it's dollar for dollar. So a dollar of mistake economics costs you $1 to fix it up, because the service is homogeneous or fungible, I guess is the way it's equivalent. Then there's a mistake that costs the repair costs way more than the mistake cost. And I believe it was a microchip plant. So I think it was an Intel microchip plant in Texas, where the HVAC guy, shock, it was a contractor, or the design maybe wasn't him. So, but somebody fucked up on the HVAC thing or the fire system. This is very important to have that working, because the manufacturer of microchips is very sensitive, and you cannot have any particulate matter. It needs to conduct electricity. I have a very, very limited knowledge of how semiconductors work. So there was a fire in this plant, and The plant took $2 billion to build, I believe. It was more than $1 billion. Completely destroyed the entire plant because the fire system or the HVAC or whatever, there was a fire, bunch of smoke got in, destroyed everything because some idiot didn't do their job. I will design the HVAC system or the fire system to do this. They didn't honor their word. They fucked up. They made a mistake. They are distrustful. And what probably was, say, semiconductor plant, the actual thing that failed in the HVAC system, hell, it could have been a $20 part for all we know. But I'm going to assume it was a $500,000 thing that failed. So a $500,000 mistake ended up costing multiple billions of dollars. And what I'm afraid of is that we talk about 70% of your time is wasted at the office. Well, that means there's 30% genuine production. What I'm afraid of is mistakes having a exponentially larger cost on the economy, eliminating that surplus. So we are actually falling back, where you start to destroy your infrastructure. Bridges collapsing, for example. And if the bridge collapses, a bunch of people die. Now you got now you're gone because you hired the wrong engineer who didn't do the math right because they got promoted because of affirmative action or whatever, to give you an example. And all of a sudden now you're starting to, what infrastructure you have starts to decay, and we're not even doing 30% production. We're at -5, where the work we do causes more damage than the production we provide. I guess that's the other way of putting it. We're so incompetent, and we're dealing with such fragile and complex systems that we end up destroying the systems or causing more damage because the systems are kind of like a magnifier. Like it compounds the effect. So, one light screwed up, you just need one light repaired. We're doing a semiconductor plant or an assembly line. Like, for example, auto recalls. I can't imagine it's a 1-for-1 on an auto recall. Somebody puts a Coke can in the car. I'm a UAW worker. It's the evil corporations. Why don't be an 8th grade dickhead and put Coke cans? Like, when I heard that, I'm like, get fucked. Like, that causes way more damage. And so we might get to the point that our mistakes cost us more than what we can actually productively produce. Well, hell, look at Disney and Hollywood now. You brought in a bunch of woke activists. It's what you did. You brought in a bunch of leftists. That's all you did. You brought in a bunch of ideological leftists who, wow, shock. You spend billions on movies, and it costs you $1.5 billion in expenses. Or you spent billions in movie expense. Do you spend $2 billion on movies and you only got $1.1 billion in revenue? There, obviously, the mistake caused way more damage than what you produced. And so now you might as well not even go to work. Well, how many examples would you like to see? Oh, here goes the internet. Hang on. I'm going to wait. We got to wait. Because the American economy, somebody fucked up their job. Just wait. Take a breather, guys. Take a breather. You guys can't see it. Okay. All right, now it's coming back. I had a boss one time in banking where I did the math, and if they just paid her to sit and play video games or watch movies for, I think, the 2 or 3 years she was in this position, they would have come out millions of dollars ahead. Like, sometimes there's no reason for you to go to work. None at all. Because you're so damaging. You're so destructive. There's so many because you're dishonorable. And people, you literally could have, sometimes you could just shut companies down for a year. Like, look, we're not even going to do it. But you have to know and have foresight to do that. But yeah, depending on the job, depending on the position, depending on the industry, a mistake can cost hundreds of thousands of times, millions times more I'd love to know what was the cause. Yeah, was it one little plastic thing that was put in the wrong way that destroyed a $2 billion semiconductor plant? I really want to know. So there's that. So there's the economics. Now let's talk about social. All right, social, it's a little bit of a different angle than economics because we don't measure social life in terms of dollars. And with the social life, the real cost there, we have to take kind of a different tact or approach and like what is success. And I was sitting there thinking about, okay, there actually is some loss of economic productivity in like barter or Amish economics, I'd like to call it, where you're going to do some barn raising. For example, a buddy of mine like, hey, I need help putting in a pergola. I went to his house. We helped him out. It's not taxed, but he relied on me showing up on time to do the thing. And I was thinking like, okay, as an increasing percentage of Americans become less and less honorable and reliable, we're going to lose the ability to like move. Like, help me move. Help me put up a pergola. Hey, can I borrow, like you said, can I borrow your socket wrench set? Yes, that does help a lot. And in a community in the olden times, that would have helped out a lot. But no one really knows how to do anything in terms of tradesmen or auto mechanics or stuff like that. So I don't think it's that big of an economic cost or loss. But where it is a tremendous loss is in your enjoyment of life. And because let's remove economics now for a second. Why the hell do you go to work? Why do you exist? What are we here for? And what we're here for is fun. I knew this long ago studying economics. Everyone's like, oh, gross income, this and gross. I'm like, fuck gross. I want to know what my disposable income is. Your disposable income is the number one thing because that's what you go and afford the fun with. Now that's measured. We could do that. But let me ask you this. What percent of your free time is it you spending what you want to do? Is you actually living life? Because here's the thing. You got 24 hours a day. 8 is knocked out sleeping. 2 is knocked out getting ready for work and commuting round trip. Another 8 is knocked out working. All right. Somewhere in there is a lunch break. And then I did another 2 hours a day of doing regular chores and everyday thing. Now, if you do that math, you should have 4 hours a day to enjoy your life. Now, if you have family and kids, that's your enjoyment, right? You got to deal with the kids. But 4 hours a day, let me ask you guys this. What percentage of you get to have 4 uninterrupted hours a day in your life? And I don't think there's a single one of you. That's what it should be. You know, all the major requirements of you sleeping, going to work, and regular chore. Okay, we accounted for that, but we should be at a place where it's 4 hours a day. You have free time to enjoy life, which is 25% of your waking hours, which is good. You know, obviously you got to work. How many of you are working extra jobs or extra shifts to pay for student loans that didn't result in a degree that got you a higher wage? How many of you have to go and fix up your car because the mechanics didn't do it the right way? How many of you have to pick up your kid because the douchebag you bred with, didn't, male or female, doesn't matter, didn't pick them up or had a problem? How many of you go, oh, I got a date with Becky, and you go out there and Becky doesn't show up? How many of you, you know, you could get to your friends. How many of your friends like, yeah, let's go hunting, and they bail out at the last minute? How many of you, perfect, this, I did a whole series on this. How many of you have spent hours troubleshooting the latest Microsoft Windows update because they improved it and you lost all that functionality? How many of you have to go through and reset your settings on your phone? How many of you are dealing with other people's fuck ups so that you do not get anywhere near 4 hours a day? Matter of fact, you probably have to start cutting into sleep, postponing errands, and your life is a hellhole. Now, some of that is poor time management on your part, but I'm also going to bet a lot of it is because people keep fucking up, because people are not honorable. The somebody that's Rossman, I believe, there was a guy, a YouTuber out there. He exposes corrupt corporations, and my God, I want to drive in Minecraft to the Hewlett Packard Corporation and find the asshole that decided that it would be a good idea to do subscription services for ink for Hewlett Packard printers. Think of the amount of thousands of human lives cumulatively were wasted because some NBA dick said, hey, I got an idea. They got to buy this printer and they need to get a subscription. And the printer won't work unless they get an ink subscription, and it won't work with any other ink. Think about the tremendous way. Like, I know he didn't kill anyone, but when you add up all the human hours that were wasted, you're talking thousands of lives. People went out, probably, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of Hewlett-Packard printers, and they're trying to figure out, why isn't it printing? What is it? And then they got to go set up a username and password. Oh, give your credit card. Oh, now it's a subscription. Now it's a subscription. And now you got to babysit all the subscriptions that you have, because otherwise your shit won't work. That all cuts into your social life. That all cuts into the most important thing, and that is your free time. And your life is determined. It is fully decided and measured. All of it is derived from your free time. And if your free time is nickeled and dimed away because people are making mistakes, companies are making mistakes and all that, you're not living life. This is why I think America's, okay, fine. Our numbers on an income per capita basis, or GDP per capita, looks great. But having to deal with all the dishonorable, untrustworthy fucks in the society eliminates any surplus or any kind of nominal numbers that we might have. And here it varies on the individual. And it's not like your friends are, usually you kick dishonorable people out right away. Somebody steals money from, they're out. They're gone. You don't tolerate these people. And so they kind of go and commit crime and be dishonorable and distrust and wreak economic and social damage elsewhere. And so I don't know if it's necessarily trust, but your friends just die. I don't mean they cease living. They die spiritually. They don't go out. They don't do anything. They're not excited about life anymore. And there's no community to go and invest your time in. And so I don't think it's distrust. I think it's a metaphorical death, or maybe they're just beleaguered and beaten like you are, where you have so little free time at the end of the day cleaning up other people's mistakes. They too did that. You don't have the energy to go out and do it anymore. I know DT, he had to redo his deck because the tradesman didn't do the flashing right on the deck. Right. So he could have gone out and done some kind of social, but he wasn't social. He never goes out. You never go out anyway. I'm just saying that theoretically there was an opportunity. If he didn't have to do that, maybe he'd have the energy to go out and be fun and be social. But the dishonor, the distrust in people to do what they say they're going to do in the overall economy denies you your ability, or severely limits your ability to enjoy a social life. And so, for example, I want to go take some friends, come visit in South Dakota. All right. So, okay, I'm going to get the car fueled up. We're going to go. It happens all the time. You go to put him. See cashier inside. I'll fucking punch him in the face. Don't care if it's his fault. Get your fucking computers at the pumps working. Stand in line. Some trailer trash piece of shit getting their fucking lottery tickets, paying by check, delaying everybody by 10 minutes, 5 people in the car, 50 minutes gone. I'm in a pissed off mood. People are, oh God, Aaron's pissed off. Why are you so angry, Aaron? And then we go and, there's whatever, whatever. It becomes very hard. You cannot enjoy a life where the society, because you are still dependent upon the economy to enjoy your life. Another example, you're going to Disneyland. And I don't mean politically, just you stand in line. You stand in line some more. You stand in line again. Like, this is not enjoyable. I can't enjoy. You can't go to the movies because there's nothing good to watch. And so if you have the free time, like, you don't have to fix your car. You don't have to rewire your lights. You don't have to maintain your homestead all the fucking time. that you might have the free time to go to the gym and go be social. Right? Then when you go out, and if you're relied upon the outside world for any kind of, like, let's go get dinner. Food poisoning 3 to 4 days ago. Like, fuck, man. You guys all know. Or the video, go watch it. Paper signs on restaurant doors. I drove all the way to Spearfish. Look it up, hour and 10 minutes away. Says they're open on the internet. So, okay. Drive all the way there. Well, they put a paper sign that we're not open. The restaurant I like to go to. I used to like to go to, and now I don't even, I don't have time to go there. I don't have time to waste 2.5 hours for you not to be open with little paper sign. Due to staffing shortages, we're going for the game. Yeah, we didn't even update our website. Yeah. That tedium, that misinformation, that distrust really impairs your ability to enjoy a social life and have a life. And so that's about all I could think is like, what percentage of your 4 hours a day that you should have? Well, how much actual free time do you have? I guarantee you maybe got 15 minutes to sit your ass down. And a lot of that is because there is no honor in the economy, no trust in the economy, that you're now cleaning up just barely. God, the amount of shit that I'll show you another example. How many of you have to go and return shit from Amazon because it doesn't fucking work? Or how much in returns in general, going to Walmart, going to here. Hey, you got me the wrong thing. Hey, it says here that this works. Govee, Govee, never buy their products. Never. Because I'm like, oh, I need a remote thermometer. I'd like to know what the temperature is. Let me know if it gets too cold, shut off the water, that type of thing. So they have this product. It's, remote thermometer. Oh, remote thermometer. You can access it on Bluetooth. Yeah, not Wi-Fi. Don't say that. So, like I said before, if you want to know what the temperature was in the next room, you could just pull it up on your phone. But if you're out of Bluetooth range, you can't tell what the temperature is because it's not a Wi-Fi thermometer. It literally is for people who are so lazy they can't get up and walk to the next room to see what the temperature is. That's a product they put through. Now, I have to return it. I don't return it. I just throw it away and write not a bad review. I write an accurate review. Your product sucks and it's a lie. All right, but how many of you have to spend your time returning shit or assembling shit that don't work? Like, oh yeah, we programmed it badly or poorly. Oh, there's a missing screw. All this bullshit. And that cuts into your personal life. And so that's the social stuff. And I'd imagine everyone's a little bit tense and on edge. Not good for your personal relationships, not good for your marriage. Ask me how I feel about the internet crapping out right now. If that puts me in a better mood when I talk to my girlfriend, who has some dumbass anal retentive female question about, what are you going to pack? Like beforehand, I'll talk about this while the internet is shit. Beforehand, where, things are just kind of going normal. Like, I think everyone has a certain capacity to tolerate stupid, inane questions from women. And then in times of war, when your man is really fucking busy with some shit, you girls come in with your dumbass girl bullshit. I got some new conditioner. Fuck off. Do you like the pink curtains or the blue curtains? Fuck it. I don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck. Not right now. We're just waiting for the internet to come back. All right, here we are. Yeah, girls, like, keep phone to take men's money away. Let's get us to 50% tax rate and see what kind of mood that puts your husband in. See if he's got that patience and capacity and understanding. And then you want to talk about romance or dating. And here we got a little bit of numbers, but the whole honoring your word, that's all relationships, romantic or not. Are you going to honor your word? And apparently most people aren't. And right off, your very first step forward, the data I have shows that 56% of women will flake on a date. My data shows it's 70%. Okay. Maybe that's just me and I'm biased, but I'm saying it's more like 70%. And that unfortunately squarely lands on women, but it's not necessarily their fault because women just aren't that interested in men. That does not excuse them from lying about it. But right off the bat, and you all know this, the vast majority of your resources and time and efforts in dating for men are going to be wasted. Ladies, yours too, because you're not ultimately getting married either. So I think all your efforts are wasted as well, though you get dates bought and paid for, and if you get married. But here there are very real and tangible expenses, some of which I've covered in previous works of mine. But let's just take a look at marriage, which would be the final end goal, I guess, in a lot of the dating and romance. Whatever efforts and time and energy you put into, of which you cannot measure or calculate, into a family that is ultimately destroyed by marriage, that's all gone. What is that on a dollar? We're talking trillions. I mean, you lose your family. I don't know what else there is, man. I really don't know. You can't put dollar amounts on it, but you can put a dollar amount on settlements. And settlements, I'm surprised it's this low, but I guess there's not a lot of rich people out there. 12 billion a year in alimony and 12 billion a year in settlements. A lot of that is because fewer people are getting married, and therefore fewer people are getting divorced. I'd like to see that going back to the 80s and the 70s, where girls were just like, they went to the dildo store. Why did they go to the so they could masturbate themselves about how much divorce was happening? It was just an epic party of divorce in the 70s and 80s. Be happy you kids didn't see it. The divorce dildo. Why are the streets all slimy and wet? I don't know. A little dark. So 12 billion a year, which isn't huge on the grand scheme of the economy. In alimony, 12 billion a year in settlements. The more costly thing would be men's demoralization, where they're just not working as much, where they're just, that's it. They're not. And the toll, I don't know. Well, again, we can't measure this, but there's also, a lot of people don't know this about divorce and marriage, but let me explain it to you. As an economist, I see some things that most people don't. So apparently there's this thing called kids. Did you know there's this thing called kids, and that like they actually suffer in divorce too? Yeah, parents, crazy stuff. I don't know how you put a price tag on it, but I'm wondering if some of them become criminals later on. I wonder if they become divorced too when they're older. Nah, whatever, man. Daycare right there. Daycare should just be considered a complete pissing away. It might be thrown in with crime. It's like another $250 billion wasted. All right. So the marriage is only 24 billion a year, marriage and divorce. But what I have done is the amount that men waste in a lifetime chasing women that just aren't that interested in them. For a 3% shot at a marriage material woman, which only then guarantees you a 14% chance of that marriage ending up being successful and happy. So these are all horrifically bad numbers. So you could almost argue today, the entire economy based on romance in the pursuit of women, or women pursuing men. Sounds so weird to say that. It's almost a complete waste. It's almost a complete waste. And so the numbers I came up with for men, the average guy is going to spend about 260 grand cash expenses in his life pursuing, maintaining, and ultimately getting rid of women in their lives. That'd be divorced. It's all assuming a percent of you are going to get divorced. The average man, divorced included, you will spend about $260,000 cash on your pursuit of women. Had that money been invested at those times, you were to make those cash expenditures, whether it was a date when you were 13 or a divorce when you were 37. Had you invested that in the S&P 500, you would have $9.6 million by the time you were 78 at the end of your life. Now, that's a theoretical academic number, but there's your economic costs. Obviously, the real costs of distrust within romantic relationships is not just in the past. The real damage has been what it has done to the people that were victims of it, namely the children, but also the husband and wife, who the emotional toll they took, the financial toll disproportionately men took, and the poverty that children lived in. But those are kind of hard to measure. But more modernly and going forward, we are starting to see the distrust within society directly affecting the economy by demoralizing and disincentivizing men from working. Now, let me grab it. Hang on. I did get it. Here we go. I should just leave this here. I don't know why So, and here it is, A World Without Men, an analysis of an all-female economy. And in here, you will find the labor force participation rates of men at varying age cohorts, and men are working less. And whereas this is future economic production that has yet to occur, it is definitely slowing down economic growth because men just aren't getting married anymore. Men are not having families. Men are not. Now, women also don't want that. So it's if there's no distrust. Women are being very clear, or maybe not so clear, but they're choosing not to get married and have children. And they're also choosing that they're not going to get married or really want men in life, or only a specific niche of men. But after guys date a little bit, or they go on. Now, in my day, it was the trust was undermined where women said, we'll show up on a date and we won't, or we want to be equal, but not in these things. We still want you to do the hard stuff. We like the equality and the benefits, but not the responsibilities. And I'm a feminist, but I'm still a traditional. Get the fuck out of here, you hypocritical, dishonorable piece of shit. You don't get it both ways. That in the olden times, yes, I'll show up for the date. No, I'm not. Or that things are going well in dating, and this is like they go back to their ex-boyfriend or whatever. The constant betrayal, lack of trust, lack of honor. Men's trust in women decayed. And I'm sure men did untrustworthy things too, but for men, it's like, no, we're not doing that. And now that you have the internet, and I would say more so the modern day equivalent of the distrust back in the day being stood up or being lied to. Now it's online dating where you swipe, and the girl, oh yeah, you match. You're like, oh, logically, there's an implied statement there. Like, you gave me a job offer. I have a job. And then they like renege on it, or they change the job duties or the description, or no one meets you at the door on your starting date. It's kind of like that. This is dishonorable. You're lying. Right? And so a girl swipes on you, you match, like, hey, what's going on? Nothing, blocked. What the fuck? And then you go through each channel. Oh, hey, how you doing? One word reaction, response. She kind of texts you back. Then all of a sudden she ghosts. Going furthermore, okay, you made it to the third stage now. We're like, hey, do you want to meet up? Yeah, ghost. Hey, let's go on a date. Okay, I'll see you here at this point in time. And she either doesn't show up, or she's 300 pounds and brings her kids along. I think that for more modern men, along with the internet now that acts as a magnifying glass to expose it and bring it to the attention of men, now women's untrustworthy behavior or dishonorable behavior, however you want to. And I'm not saying men are perfect. I'm just saying men are like, well, I'm not going to get married. This is not going to happen. This is a waste of time. Look how much time I wasted on the dating apps. Look at how many times. And now they're not working, or they're not going into the capacity that they absolutely could be. And I forecast what will happen if rates continue. You think 300 billion a year in crime is bad. You think the economy is bad now. You just wait till men drop out because they don't have any family or children to raise. You just wait. And that there is a tremendous romantic cost, or what's the word I'll be looking for? I'm sorry. Romance has almost been completely undermined by the dishonorable behavior and distrust that the sexes have between it. Predominantly women. I'm not letting men off, but I'm sorry, ladies. It's mainly your fault. Yeah, it is. The divorce. It's not men finally pulling the divorce cord. It's not men destroying families. It's not men that stand up women for dates. It's you girls. And you've made it abundantly clear, and I covered it. And there's here's it. I'll show you. I think my favorite chart. There's this chart here. Shows you the percent of women who don't need, don't want, annoyed, adversarial, and hate men. Fascinating how I came up with these numbers. You girls are doing that, but the point is, oh yeah, we want to get married and have kids. No, you don't. No, and the behavior proves it. So it is distrustful. It is dishonorable. Perhaps it is naive. Maybe there's no malice behind it, but you can't trust. Okay, guys, can you trust what women say? Generally not. Now, when it comes to romance, and so romance has been completely undermined to the point there really isn't any. I'm really sorry. There just isn't that much romance. What happened now? Did the internet shit the bed? Hang on. Bear with me. Must be what it's like living in an African country, but by today's modern standards. The time's not even that time. It's not even that time. Who is... Let me pull it up. Sorry, guys. Just how it is. All right, we're back. No, we're not. Fuck it. I'm just gonna go. I'm sorry if I'm robotic. I'm terribly sorry. I'm done giving a shit anymore. Romance is done. That's just, it's been undermined going forward, and the consequence of romance being undermined is not just that, sadly, tragically, one of the most important things, if not the most important thing in life, has been destroyed or severely crippled or been denied for the majority of the population. The economic ramifications of this are huge because men are, I'm sorry, ladies, we are critical to the economy. You are not. The economy can go on without you. Be pretty boring without women, but it can go on without you. It cannot go on without men. And we are starting to reach a critical percentage of men who are not entering the labor force that cannot maintain the infrastructure. And that is going to have huge economic consequences. So it is distrust filtered through romance, or distrust that has destroyed romance, that has completely demoralized and undermined the American male and other countries' labor force. And that is going to have devastating effects for the economy. And it already kind of has. I know you don't believe this, but the main reason housing is so expensive because we haven't built enough, because kind of treated men like shit. And you know who builds houses and infrastructure? Men. Oh, I wonder why are your plumbers so expensive? There's not enough to go around. I'm sorry, you girls dating plumbers? Are you cheering them on? You're like, ew, poo. And so through the dating and courtship process, whether it was in the 90s or more modernly with online dating, but divorce happening all around, and now the internet, you girls, you can kind of tell guys you don't exactly give encouraging statements. The message women send, you can just is completely demoralized. Guys like, fuck it, I'm done. And so that lack of trust now has manifested in a demoralized male labor force. And oh my goodness, I do declare, Tana, I believe I have a touch of the social anxieties. Ladies, did you vote Democrat to give me an SSI disability check? You did? Well, I do declare I can no longer work. And you fine women over at the social work office will diagnose me with my mental disorder that I cannot help, and you will give me the free monies. I would have been a productive member of society, but I cannot do that I have the social anxieties. Thank you very much for my government check. Where am I government gone? So yeah, there's the economy without trust. What a fun time we're all having. Hey, gang. And if you wonder, well, can it get any worse? Well, I bet you would love this book called A World Without Men, an analysis of an all-female economy. It's it's a utopia. I mean, a world without men. The girls are already, oh my God, I'm so wet. Ladies, you read through it. It's a utopia. Oh my God, finally all those nasty men gone. Oh, you girls can finally lead the economy. Do whatever you want. Oh my goodness. You're so fucked. You are so fucked without men. It isn't even close. It's not even funny. I only laugh because I'm a dark, cynical man and I find pain and misery of future people funny. Oh, oh, it's going to be a shit show. So that's linked below. All right, let's go to the super chats. Nonstop Dre, $2. Japan is a high trust society and show up on time. Right, and they have no crime, or very little, and every place has crime, but it's very little. They're unfortunate. Well, there's another thing of they're moralized where I don't exactly understand their herbivore movement. I think it's more ensconced in the 80s work culture where the modern day men of today never saw their dad. And I guess the wives took their husbands to the cleaners. And so kind of they're like divorce PTSD victims, I guess, when they were kids, their parents, they never saw their dad. But I guess the women don't want to get married either. I don't have it fully diagnosed, but it shows you that, yeah, if men and women don't trust each other, there ain't no economy. Let's just start off right there. If there ain't no family, there ain't no love. By the way, ladies, do you know how little men can get by on? And if you're going to give us government money to be disabled, holy shit. Oh, man. You think housing is pricey. You think a repair bill for your car is expensive now. You just wait, sister. Wisdom Vision Productions, $5. At my job, I never let my coworkers help me with anything. Always work better on my own. Things get done consistently to my standard without it. Yep. There's no, nope. I can't trust you to do your job right. I just can't. I just can't trust you. Drew, $2. Any cool repo stories from your banking days? I threatened one guy. It was Wyoming. I had to bring a gun, not because I was going to threaten him with the gun, but he might try to shoot me. And just a piece of trailer trash, just a scumbag. But it wasn't like I wasn't a repo. I wasn't sent in to go get a car or anything like that because the banks I worked for, they didn't want to repossess things. And what they did repossess, they never fixed up and sold. As a bank, you don't want to own real estate. You want to sell it, get your collateral back, and be done with it. I honestly don't have enough bad things to say. Okay. I honestly cannot say enough bad things about Wyoming and Wyoming culture. I can't. I just can't. Adam Schmidt, $5. It's tough listening to you at regular 1 speed. I prefer 1.5, 1.75. Not sure if that's a compliment or not. Whatever you want, man. It's not a compliment. It is what it is. I don't care. I mean, I that's fine. I appreciate the money. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Wisdom Vision Productions, again, $5. 99% of the time, I really needed friends' help. I got the airport. Oh God, Wisdom. You just thanks for bringing up that that sore spot in my past, Wisdom. You're right. The number of friends that have just gone to shit. I had one guy lose his fucking mind, and I think because he got off the roids. it was so obscure. I had another guy. Oh God, now you're reminding me of all these people that lost their fucking minds. Another guy couldn't handle the lockdowns. He's off the fucking deep end. Yeah, and then I can't take you to the airport. What the fuck can you do? Get the fuck out of here. Jesus Christ. But yeah, 99% of the time I really needed friends' help. I got the airport treatment. But if it was the girls, they rushed to help. Friends aren't worth shit. Yep. I don't know if you watched it, Visa, but I don't know if it's the original, but the original Castlevania American anime, not the new woke shit that came out. The one that came out a year or two ago. My favorite character in there was Zack. The reason I like Zack because no one helped him. And he was just he came from poverty and all this other stuff. Nobody helped him. And so he got to this point. It was like, okay, no one's going to help me, but can you just not get in my way? Can you? And he's fair. Every person or group or adversary he comes up against, he's like, just leave me alone and let me pass. Please. Just. And then he asked, why can't people help me? It was a philosophical, why can't people help me? I know it takes the time to help me or a slight inconvenience, but why don't people help? And then he's just like, okay, well, can you get out of my way? And people don't get out of his way. And Zack fucks him up. He's like this pacifist. It just shows you why misanthropy is legit. It's real. It's the correct conclusion. All he wants to do is be left alone. Please leave me alone, or please let me pass. I won't do anything. No. Fuck. Okay, you're all gonna die. Drew, $2. I think about this whenever I get on a plane. Yeah. What was it? I think it's American or United, one of the two. Their number one goal was hiring minorities as pilot or women or something like, but fuck you. I'm not flying you. Fuck you. Not only is that racist and sexist or bigoted or whatever, it's dangerous. Go fuck yourself. I roll, therefore I am 5 Canadian. Much of my job is fixing up other people's fuck ups. I have steady work until the end of time. Right. I mean, what all of Asshole Consulting is their dads didn't do the right job. Be perfectly honest. Or mom slept with the wrong guy and the guy was never around. And this is why I have my course, The Dad You Never Had. So if you got questions and I don't have time to answer you, shit, I'm fucked up on several ways, go consider taking that course, The Dad You Never Had. It's available on Teachable. But yeah, that's all I do. At one time, banking was the same way. In theory, banking is we fund people with profitable ventures. So not only can they provide a good service and a product to society to help the economy grow, but you provide employment to people along the way. Now, it was just refinancing people's shitty money-losing operations. And then they take money out of the company to go rent a boat or some other bullshit like that. That's all it was. There's no genuine production there. And then towards the end of my career, all it was federal compliance. Because the federal government was up the bank's ass so much I was working for because they were fucking up their job that they literally had to come in and handhold this bank and kind of force them at gunpoint. Either do this or face a fucking lawsuit or jail time. All they did was write compliance reports. There's no new production there. I wasn't Purdue, but Paul Krugman was jerking off to my career like, oh my God, broken windows. I should have AI. You guys don't know Paul Krugman. Don't worry. He'll be dead soon. He's irrelevant anyway. I should have an AI like Paul Krugman jerking off to a broken window. Hang on. I'm going to do it. Hang on. Fucking Dick deserves it after all the bullshit he spewed. Paul Krugman. Jerking off broken window. It's funny. If you're an economist, you know why it's funny. Yep. So yeah, yay for us. You know, the whole red pill wouldn't exist. It just wouldn't exist if women were honorable and nice and like, yeah, we really want to go. Or if you girls just said, no, we don't want to get married, leave us alone. Okay, we will. Like we wouldn't even need this. Could you imagine what else we could have done if the thousands of men in the red pill community and all you millions or billions of tuner inners that live, if we did something else with the literally trillions of minutes we've wasted on this? I know we wasted, but we definitely corrected some erroneous information. So the remnant of our lives can now be lived in empiricism. Wisday again for $2. Should I go to the office Christmas party? Why not, man? Go get out of here. Wisday, you need to get out. Go socialize. I mean, leave anytime you want, man. I don't know about you, but I just enjoy changing my view. Like, I don't want to stay in this room all the time. I go out and, go to town, drive around the Black Hills, just to see, just to get out, man. Got to get out. Drew, $2. Lottery ticket buyers throw me into rage. And exactly. There's a waste. God almighty. Wisdom Vision Production again, $5. The only thing I trust in this world is when I click on Cappy Video, the internet will drop faster than men drop out of society for video. I know, man. Green shorts are $5. Buddies flaking on outings pissed me off and it was so common. I'm hungover, bro. Fuck you. I'm going hiking anyway. And women, I got like a 2% success rate. Right. I remember having a best friend who once he got a girlfriend. I'm not kidding. He lived 2 blocks away from me as adults. I mean, not like we were in the neighborhood, but adults, we'd hang out 2 blocks away. I saw him, I think, twice in a year and a half. And once he got the girl, he just wanted to stand. I saw his girlfriend more than I saw him. She was a nice gal. We enjoyed each other's company. I hung out with her like 3 or 4 times. She's like, go hang out with her. Like she wanted to get, no, that was it. Like and I didn't even begrudge, like this wasn't a bad woman for the guy. It was a wonderful woman. Like, yeah, but hey, were we just a temporary stopgap measure here? What the fuck? Christoph and on $5. High trust civilizations always beat low trust tribal cultures. Destruction of trusts leads to tribalism. Yep. We're going to go there. We're going to go there. Wisda. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So you saw it. That Castlevania anime is my jam. Isaac. I'm sorry. Did I say Isaac or Zach? I think it's Isaac. Yes, you're right. Is one of my favorite characters. His speech in season 3 to that captain on the dock is so cathartic. Yep. I think he's the most interesting character in that. I mean, it's very interesting. And they had some lesbian woke shit. Like, all right, we'll tolerate this shit. But that character was the best. Why don't people help? Red Hawk, $2. Subscribe to his channel. Just finished Castlevania last night. Great show. Yeah. Yeah, it is a good show. Stop kicking me in my balls. Hand clogs, $2. Them is fighting words. Play lotto, bro. I'll see you. Oh, that's right, Hat. You like the lottery. That's all right. There you go. So get this book, A World Without Men, because it's coming. It's already here. You just don't know it yet. Why is electricity bill up high? I do not understand. To help afford it, I will get my master's degree in diversity and inclusion, and that will help me pay the bills. It's available on paperback Kindle. I got the audio chapter 1 audio back. It's good. The guy did a good job. And then what else? Oh, yeah, that Dad You Never Had course. Take a look at that. It's just, and God Almighty, cut the untrustworthy people out of your life. I'll see you guys later, Toodles.